Make this city affordable for everyone.
With the president to speak about the needs of the 8.5 million people.
We stand on the verge of a victory that will resonate across the country.
The world Zohran knew was represented in the gray-brown dust of Sector 6, beneath the towering, indifferent skyscrapers of the inner city. His lungs were always heavy with the smell of exhaust and forgotten dreams. His father, Elias, carried the weight of 4 minimum-wage jobs on a failing spine, returning home each night a silhouette of exhaustion. Zohran, age 10, understood that poverty was not just lack of money, but a lack of visibility, a slow, suffocating erasure. He made a vow in the silence of their cramped apartment. He would force the world to see them. This quiet, blazing ambition became his first, most vital.
Turn the volume up!
If you want to see more of such documentaries, make sure to subscribe to our channel Quest Insights.
The city council ordered the only working water main in their block shut off, citing non-essential use, while the inner city enjoyed perpetual, crystalline fountains. Zohran watched a grandmother weep, her voice hoarse from pleading. Something in him snapped. Standing on a repurposed milk crate, this 12-year-old boy, fueled by pure, desperate fury, articulated the moral equation of their suffering. It wasn't just about water, it was about worth. The local police broke up the protest swiftly, but Zohran had found his voice, a raw, undeniable instrument of change.
If anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump.
His true mentor was not a person, but a place. The derelict public library on the border zone. Ms. Alera, the stern but perceptive librarian, noticed the frantic hunger in his eyes. She gifted him a heavily annotated copy of the city's legislative code, a dense, technical fortress of text. Zohran devoured it, realizing that the system was not a monolith, but a set of complex rules that could be mastered, then broken. The scent of old paper and the quiet hum of the ceiling fan were the sounds of his revolution. His mind a steel trap absorbing the knowledge of the elite.
Make this city affordable!
Kale, his childhood friend and protector, tried to pull him into the easier, faster world of organized street finance. They don't respect books, Zohran? Kale sneered, dropping a thick roll of currency onto the table. They respect power, and this is its true color. Zohran pushed the money away, his jaw tight. He explained, cold and measured, that true power was the ability to rewrite the rules, not merely profit from breaking them. Kale walked away that night, leaving Zohran in utter solitude. The path to glory required the severance of the familiar, a wound he carried always.
To speak about the needs of the 8.5.
Against astronomical odds, Zohran won a scholarship to the Metropolitan School of Public Policy. He stepped onto the manicured campus, his cheap shoes sinking slightly into the perfect green lawn. The children of senators and tycoons regarded him with detached curiosity, like an interesting biological specimen. He endured the relentless microaggressions, the polite inquiries designed to mock his background. Zohran felt the urge to lash out, but held it back, understanding that his education was not a prize, but a captured weapon he needed to master before firing it.
Having the meeting with the president to speak about the needs of.
The crushing weight of his life returned when his aging father suffered a major stroke. The hospital demanded payment up front, a sum Zohran couldn't fathom. His scholarship, his studies, all felt suddenly meaningless against the raw, immediate terror of loss. He considered selling his soul, calling Kale, but the people of Sector 6 intervened. They held block-wide collections, small offerings of coin and sacrifice, a silent investment in their future. Zohran's father was saved, but the weight of that collective hope settled on Zohran's shoulders, a burden heavier than any financial debt.
The president, a productive one.
He found a fragile peace in the company of Anya, a brilliant, firebrand sociology student whose passion mirrored his own, yet was tempered by fierce cynicism. They built an intense, sheltered world of late-night debates and shared, quiet laughter in the heart of the indifferent city. Anya loved the warrior in him, but feared the political machine he was determined to join. She warned him constantly, "Don't become the wall you swore to tear down, Zohran." Their love was a vital refuge, yet one Zohran knew his ambition might force him to abandon.
Proud democratic socialists!
Senator Valerius, a master strategist, plucked Zohran from obscurity, offering him a prestigious internship and a path to power. The allure was intoxicating. Valerius taught him to navigate the shadows, to accept the necessity of small, pragmatic compromises for the greater good. Zohran soared, learning to talk, dress, and think like the elite, yet the compromises grew larger, the moral gray areas wider. He started to fear that the man looking back from the mirror was a polished stranger, his soul slowly fading under the senator's subtle, seductive tutelage.
You hear it come back to the issues that
Valerius tasked Zohran with quietly fast-tracking a new land use bill, claiming it would revolutionize Sector 6. Zohran's research revealed the truth. The bill was a transparent land grab designed to displace thousands, funneling profits directly into Valerius's coffers. The choice was agonizing. Expose the lie and incinerate his career, or remain silent and betray everything he fought for. In the deepest silence of the night, Zohran used his elite access to leak the full, damning details to an investigative journalist.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be back.
The following morning, the articles broke, scandal engulfing the city. Senator Valerius did not simply fire Zohran. He executed him publicly, labeling him a paranoid, unstable radical whose background made him untrustworthy. Zohran was universally condemned, his name a byword for reckless idealism and ingratitude. His scholarship was revoked, his future systematically destroyed by the very machine he intended to fight. He was utterly, crushingly alone, cast out from the high castle and sent spiraling back to the dust from whence he came.
A Muslim immigrant and a proud...
He returned to Sector 6, defeated, sleeping once again on the old sofa, the stench of failure acrid in the air. The community, initially supportive, soon looked at him with pity or quiet resentment. The boy who tried to fly too high and crashed. Zohran sank into a period of profound despondency, the weight of public humiliation paralyzing him. He was no longer the brilliant prodigy, just a broken man. Anya, though miles away, sent him coded messages of support, a silent lifeline preventing his complete descent into apathy.
Thank you, my friends!
He realized salvation lay not in the halls of power, but in the trenches. He declared his candidacy for the lowest-rung city ward representative, a humiliating step back. His campaign was grassroots, agonizingly slow, and based entirely on listening, not lecturing. He walked the scorching streets, blistered and exhausted, promising only clean streets and working water pipes. He had shed the rhetoric of the elite, trading polished lies for simple, achievable truth. The humility of the effort slowly began to mend his shattered pride.
Anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump.
The opposition, desperate to stop his slow rise, tried to exploit his past, digging up Kale's old gang affiliations and trying to link them to Zohran. Kale, now running a legitimate but fragile business, was offered a fortune to falsely slander his former friend. In a powerful, unexpected display of loyalty, Kale refused the money, instead issuing a public, emotional statement defending Zohran's integrity and his commitment to the sector. This act, born of a broken bond, resurrected Zohran's credibility when he needed
And the need to deliver affordability to New York.
Anya, now thriving in her distant career, came back for a visit, offering him a final choice. Walk away from the political grind and join her for a stable, intellectual life, or lose her forever to his endless, exhausting battle. Zohran looked at the worn faces of the people who had invested their hope in him. The duty was too profound. He made the crushing decision, choosing the cold, clear promise of his political commitment over the warmth of his greatest love. Their final goodbye was silent, a mutual acknowledgement that the ascent required absolute, painful solitude.
To afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America.
Election night was a flurry of nervous energy in the dusty, borrowed campaign office. The votes were counted, recounted, and challenged for hours by the opposing machine. Finally, the news broke. Zohran had won the ward representative seat by a mere 52 votes. It was a minuscule victory on the grand scale, but it felt like an earthquake, the first genuine crack in the walls of the inner city. Zohran stood on the stage, exhausted, victorious, and understanding he had earned his way back. one agonizing step at a time.
Over our city this evening.
In the city council, Zohran became legendary, the tribune of the poor. His mastery of legislative detail, honed in the library, combined with his visceral understanding of suffering, made him an unstoppable force. He used every rule, every parliamentary trick, to expose corruption and redirect funds back to the struggling wards. His speeches were broadcast widely, sparking protests and unifying the disaffected. He was feared because he could not be bought, and loved because his fire was genuine, his loyalty absolute.
It is the city that gave rise to him.
2 years later, facing an unprecedented level of public support, Zohran launched his bid for governor. The establishment laughed, calling him a symbolic candidate, a political stunt. But the common people poured out their meager savings, fueling a volunteer army that canvassed the entire state. The incumbent, a political titan, responded with a campaign of brutal, personalized attacks, spending fortunes trying to bury Zohran under a mountain of negative advertising. The fight was asymmetric, a battle between a colossus and a hurricane.
The same city we love, home.
Just days before the election, the incumbent's machine unleashed its final, devastating blow, a report twisting the anonymous leak, Segment 9, into an act of political self-interest and deceit. The polls plummeted. Zohran was forced onto the defensive, accused of being a fraud built on a false narrative of moral purity. The fear of collapse was a physical sickness. His entire glorious, painful journey threatened to shatter into 1,000 pieces of doubt and ruin.
Because we want January 1st to be a day where we...
In the final televised debate, Zohran did not deny the difficult past. He confessed to the pressure, the fear, and the isolation of that choice, defining his error not as a lie but as a young man's desperate attempt to do right. He held up his worn copy of the Legislative Code. "This book, given to me by a librarian, is my foundation," he stated, his voice ringing with conviction. "I didn't choose the easy path. I chose the true path, and that choice is what I offer you now." The moment was electric, raw authenticity overcoming polished lies.
We stand on the verge of a victory that will...
The victory was declared just after midnight, a narrow, miraculous triumph that sent shockwaves across the political landscape. Zohran Mamdani, the boy from Sector 6, was governor. He stood on the podium, bathed in the blinding light of glory, the cheers of the crowd a distant, roaring ocean. He raised his hand to acknowledge them, but his eyes were fixed on the empty space beside him where Anya should have stood. The apex was reached, but the true burden, the fulfillment of every promise, the governance of every hope, was only just beginning.
To speak frankly about the affordability crisis.
If you liked our video, make sure subscribe to our channel Quest Insights so you never miss any of our upcoming videos.